Yeah. I just want everyone listening to know something about our little note spreadsheet that Emily put together here. It's it's great because like everything is organized by section, and we talk about a cause and then a fix, and there's some explanation. But the one that says cause eating out too often, on fix it just says stop.
Welcome to the Bacon Bibles and Barbells podcast. I'm Coach Justin, joined by Coach Amanda and Emily. Today we're going to be talking about brain fog, bloat, no energy, those kinds of things that a lot of people deal with. And I'm dealing with a couple of those because I'm sick, so that's probably why I flubbed on the intro there. So we're going to talk through some of the factors with these, and we're not talking about if you just have this for like a little bit because you're sick like me and you feel dumb. Losing 10 IQ because you're sick is natural and normal and just part of being human, and it's super annoying. And we'll talk about some of the factors beyond being sick that can do that as well, like that can sort of temporarily make this happen. Obviously, not enough sleep can be very relevant, but there's some other things as well. So I'll let you guys, maybe what have you guys seen that often causes this just on a temporary basis, that we wouldn't want someone listening to this freak out and be like, oh my gosh, I have brain fog. Maybe I need to do all this stuff. You might be fine. It's okay. If it's only been happening for like a week or something, there are some things you could maybe think about changing or examining.
Yeah, I think that especially if you've been pretty routine on a good nutrition plan and then you eat something off, that can throw you off for a little while, actually. I don't think many people freak out as much when that happens because it's kind of obvious why the bloating and the brain fog has come in if you've been on top of the nutrition. But that's definitely a reason. It can be temporary. You're dehydrated. That's something that you might have just gotten busy, forgot to drink the normal water that you usually get. And it's not something that registers right away. Like, why am I feeling like this? And water's not necessarily what you think about. You think something's wrong.
Yeah.
Also, if you're a woman and kind of have irregular periods and you get this weird bloat, it's going to be temporary, but it may not be the first thing on your mind because you're just not sure when it's coming and don't necessarily have a specific time of the month you're waiting on it. I mean, proper diet and exercise will help get that more regular, but if you have PCOS or something, you just may never be. So that could be a sign that just hormonally something's different.
Yeah, one thing that I think women that are on their cycle, because you can get brain fog, obviously irritability and different things like that. One thing that does seem to help regulate all of the above, two things that we've seen. One, just over-the-counter progesterone cream can help some women quite a bit in that area. And I actually think it's because of putting it on at night and just getting better sleep. It just tends to put you in a more parasympathetic state. But the other thing, too, that might surprise some people is just increasing your electrolytes as well, and hydration. You just might need more salt during that week. That can sometimes be very helpful. And to everybody that's worried about getting salt and blood pressure and all that, blah, 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 it's really rare that people actually get high blood pressure from salt. I've seen it lower blood pressure more often than I've seen it raise it for a lot of people. So try it. Yeah, check your blood pressure if you want. You'll know really quickly. Like, if salt's going to raise your blood pressure, it'll raise your blood pressure within half an hour of taking in more salt. Like, you'll know really fast. So if it causes a problem, fine. Drink a bunch of water, flush it out. Then it didn't work for you. For most people, it might do nothing. Others, you might actually notice that you actually have a little bit of better energy, especially for something acute like that.
Yeah, for
sure. Actually, I've been talking with Emily about this too, because I think she's doing the same thing. Been playing with my electrolytes. My sodium and potassium are like well beyond the recommended daily allowance right now. Magnesium, calcium as well. Like, all of my electrolytes are up, just kind of seeing what that does on top of what my macros already were. And I've noticed I feel a little bit more alert, and I didn't really expect that effect from it, but it's helped with that. I haven't thankfully had any blood pressure issues or digestive issues from it. I know some people, if you spike that sodium really fast, your stomach's going to feel it, but I haven't had any of that. Actually, a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
clarity. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I think
definitely
that
a good option.
the demonizing of sodium, I think, is is coming out, and how harmful it's kind of been. I think a lot of people, especially if you are in general living otherwise healthy, like if your food is pretty on point, you're not eating a ton of processed salty food all the time. If you're, walking and getting your movement in, if you're sleeping, pretty darn well, and if all of those other things are in place, I think that in general more electrolytes are going to be really beneficial for a lot of people. And it will actually help all three of these things, brain fog, bloat, and energy through the electrical signals, and also help you even in like things keeping going the way that they're supposed to, because it does seem to also have a little bit of a de-stressing effect, because your body knows that it has kind of like the very, very basic building blocks of what it needs, like along with protein and movement and things like that. And so it's super interesting. And that actually connects to the next thing. The last thing I wanted to mention before we get more into these specifically is like, this may seem like a no-brainer, but if you're drinking alcohol very consistently, and especially substantial amounts of alcohol, whether even if you're not getting drunk, but
which we don't recommend anyway, having very much at all. But yeah,
but we have had this conversation with multiple people over the years where they're like, man, I'm bloated, I have brain fog, I have no energy, I don't feel good, and we're like, well, did you drink 5 beers last night? And they're like, oh yeah, and the night before, like even if they're not drunk, there's just like, there is a consistent stream of alcohol in their life, and alcohol depletes your electrolytes like nothing else. Yeah. And so you've got the literal poisoning of the too much alcohol plus the lack of electrolytes. Like you will be feeling very, very poorly if you're someone who is consuming in excess amounts of alcohol very regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people may not, if it's like a beer comes in a certain size, but if you're having wine or liquor of any kind, a lot of people aren't really measuring that appropriately. So they'll think they had actually more than that. And so you might feel off, as opposed to if you measured it, an actual measure, maybe you wouldn't have that as much, but still moderate.
Yeah. And some people just get in that habit of like, it's 5 p.m. I get home from work, I have a beer or two, but doing that day after day after day, like that really will add up, especially if you're neglecting your electrolytes. So
yeah, you have like you said, the toxicity effect plus you can mitigate some of it with electrolytes, but there is no you can't supplement your way out of drinking every day.
There's tons of those supplements too, like there's one that's like a probiotic of some sort, and I think it has some other things in it, and it's like, drink this before you have alcohol. You're not going to feel it the next day. Like alcohol does kill the good bacteria in your gut. It can definitely do that. So I can understand the thought behind it, but I would think if you're drinking those probiotics right before you're drinking, you're just killing them immediately. So
I don't know that they're going to do much. It's like, you just had a bunch of bacteria and then you poured alcohol over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like day after, I guess. But during, what's that gonna do? It's like that one doesn't make much sense to me. Like you could pre-gaming with electrolytes, that could do something. Again, don't try to supplement your way out of a bad lifestyle. If you're making poor decisions, there's supplements can mitigate certain things, but really what they're doing in that case is masking bad decisions. And if anything, that could lead to more binge type of behavior. If you're going to have, and really the recommended allowance for drinking is about 2 servings a week for most people. And even then, it seems like it has some consequence to it long term. I'll often go months without drinking anything, and then I might have quite a bit because it's like a vacation, and I might be drinking every day, I might have a few drinks a day or something, but then I'll go several months without it again, most of the time, and that's probably fine. But it's that regular, like, even if it's, you're not totally binging and getting drunk and everything like that. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about that almost daily regular use. You are not going to feel good because it's not good for you. And yeah, you can take supplements that may help a bit, but there's a reason you feel bad. Your body's telling you, hey, cut it out. Like, it's a natural consequence of alcohol consumption.
I would say if you know you are going to, go to a party or a get together or something, and you're going to have a couple, front load that hydration. Just like be ready.
Yeah.
Be ready for it. Get your protein in. Maybe you won't want so much. If you have something in your stomach already. So little tricks there.
Yeah. And just have lots of salt. Yeah, I think is good. I mean, that's like, this isn't like the never drink speech or anything like that. It's just be careful how often you do it, and when you do it, electrolytes seem to help. That's really the takeaway. And if you are dealing with a lot of brain fog and you're drinking often, the first thing you should probably do is just not drink. It also, like, especially men are prone to high blood pressure from drinking often. I think part of that actually is from the electrolyte imbalance that it causes. But it's, again, like, it's a downward pressure on your health that you really just don't need. So stop that. And well, the other thing too is even like beer has a lot of carbs in it, so you're drinking calories. Wine has a lot of sugar in it. Cocktails tend to have a lot of sugar. Straight whiskey or some of those types of things, like liquors, they don't have the sugar and carbs in it, but alcohol still gets converted to sugar, and the way it's metabolized, it's actually kind of like sugar and fats. Just be aware of the caloric intake, because if even if you're drinking light beers, if you're having them often, those calories are going to add up. So, like, even from a not just toxicity point of view, like, be aware that, like, you're drinking a bunch of carbs and sugar if you're drinking regularly.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll throw in here too, that's kind of a little bit related, is melatonin use. A lot of people use melatonin regularly. I'm not a fan of using it all the time, just for, like, when you really need it. You need to, like, get a really good night's sleep, or you've fallen behind on sleep for whatever reason. This is a short-term stressful thing in life. You have a hard time falling asleep. Those types of things, fine. But if you use it for very long, most people will kind of get a depressive effect from it. You'll just feel a little bit gray. And the only way to clear that is just to stop using it. And it takes a couple weeks to fully clear out. So that is something to be aware of, as well as just chronic melatonin use. I don't think is healthy mentally. Yes, it has anti-cancer effects and things like that. But I couldn't speak. I haven't come across anything biologically that's like, this is exactly what's going on. But I have noticed it if I've used it for very long term. I've talked to a bunch of other people that have. It's probably your body telling you, don't do this. You shouldn't have that much and that regularly. Keep in mind that when your body makes melatonin, it's typically less than 1 milligram. And you would be hard pressed to find a melatonin supplement that is under 1 milligram. Why? Because it wouldn't do very much.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will start with just with 5 or 10 milligrams, which is an insane place to begin. You do take it, just start with 1.
Yeah, when I've taken it, some brands work better for some people than others too. It's something you have to experiment with. I know there's a particular brand that I've found works the best for me, but they're in 12 milligram pills. So I actually break it in half, and I break little tiny bits off of it. So I'm getting like 1 milligram or 2 at a time.
Yeah.
It's okay to, if whatever pill works well for you, break it up. That's okay. But yeah, these doses that some people are taking, it's just like, I've even seen people bragging like, oh, I take 40, 50 milligrams a night, whatever, because you're taking like 4 12 milligram pills. Yeah, I bet you sleep really deeply, but you probably also wake up super groggy, and you're just going to have that built up depressive effect that's going to add up over time. And I wouldn't recommend it. So that's also something to potentially examine if you're dealing with this kind of thing. So let's move on to kind of our next area, causes and fixes for brain fog. So this is more for people that are experiencing it like kind of chronically. It's just like you realize that you're dealing with it. It's kind of built up over time. It probably crept up on you more or less over years or months or something like that.
Yeah. Emily, you want to?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the first thing, like when we work with people or anybody even asks us about this topic, is just like we walk through your life. Like, what does a day in your life look like as far as like how much sleep are you getting? How much water are you drinking? How many electrolytes are you getting? How many carbs are you eating? Those specifically, like all four of those play a really big role in brain fog. And so like one of the first things we do is look at some of those, and a bunch of people have been on the no carb kick for a long time. Like we still talk, I mean, I think still like 60-70% of the people we talk to still think that carbs are a no-go. Just period. And so I think that the tide is starting to turn on carbs like very slowly, but I think it's going to be
easier to convince people the last year or two. I feel like that carbs are okay. When I first got into coaching like four or 5 years ago or whatever, it was really hard to convince a lot of people that any amount of carbs was okay, that they were just like poison no matter what. And I think that, the last year or two, it's like when I start having that conversation with people, they're a little more open-minded about like, oh, okay, I guess carbs could be okay. And I don't have to like explain quite as much about how actually beneficial they are.
Right.
And by the way, carbs help with your hydration, just like electrolytes. Like you will retain water where you should with the right amount of carbs.
Yeah. In the muscles.
Yeah. In the muscles. Yeah. And in the brain.
Yeah. So if you've been eating a low carb diet, like it literally may be as simple as it's time to bring carbs back in because your brain's not going to be operating the way that it should without the energy that you need to give it for carbs. And no, your brain does not run off fats. That's a big talking point right now. You do need carbs in order to think correctly.
Where does that come from? I've seen people say like, well, I'm a fat burner. It's like, no, you're not. You're whatever, like depends on your activity. Like what's your heart rate? That determines, like how many carbs you're burning at the moment. But no, you're not a fat burner. You don't convert yourself to burning fats. Like the ketone system in your liver is a backup system to keep your brain from dying when you don't eat carbs. It's not what you're supposed to live on. Like, by the way, anyone listening to this, like, just stop. There is no medical evidence that doing this is in your best interest. None whatsoever. We have lots of evidence that's both anecdotal and clinical. This is not the case. You cannot make your brain burn fats. It doesn't work that way. Your brain metabolizes carbohydrates, and you have no freaking choice in the matter. So don't pretend that it's any other way. Yes, you can manufacture ketones in the liver. Yes, they work. Is that a good way to do business on a day-to-day basis? No. There's no evidence that this is useful or better than actually having carbs. It's like anyone listening to this, please stop with the high-fat stuff and saying, I'm a fat burner and all this stuff. That's not how it works. Metabolism is far more complicated. That you're not some sort of like, you're not a car. We could be like, oh, I used to be a gas-burning car, and now I'm an electric vehicle. No, you're not. You are whatever you like. The ratio of what you are burning depends on what. Basically, the easiest way to measure it is your heart rate. The more challenging way is if you measure your breath and see what your CO2 output is. But we're not doing that, and again, totally irrelevant. Who cares? Like it's only useful in like athletes or something like that where we're trying to like push VO2 max or whatever. Otherwise, like don't be delusional. This is not like something that you can just change. It's hard programmed into how your mitochondria work. Like the Krebs cycle is not something you can change with your behavior outside of just getting in better shape so that yes, your anaerobic threshold can go up as you become more conditioned so you burn more fats. At a higher heart rate, but that's about it. Yeah. And I don't see anybody trying to do this by getting in better cardiovascular conditioning.
Right.
Right. I mean, you're not going to be able to change the system, but you can make the system more efficient.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's still
Like
going to
ever talk
function the
to
same way.
talk to a long distance runner about like what they do for energy. Like they are pounding water, salt, and carbs. That's what those gels that they eat and stuff. That's carbs and salt. Why do they do it? Because it works.
Right. My favorite Bible verse on this is when I think it's David. Oh, but I could be wrong. So someone give me grace if I'm wrong. He's like leading his men through the wilderness, and they're so tired, and then they find some honey to eat, and it says it like brightened their eyes or lightened their eyes. It's basically like they had carbs, and all of a sudden they felt so much better about life. So relatable.
That's awesome. I love
it's
it.
worth noting too that low protein can make you have a lot of brain fog too.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of these effects, like just tired and brain fog from not having enough protein as well. It's nothing is so simple as to have like, oh, I just add this thing and it fixes it all. It's not that simple. And the reason why we reduce fats, there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the big reasons is it allows you to have adequate protein and carbohydrate intake to support energy levels and basic functions that the body needs to do. All three macros support this. No macro, there's not one of the three that's like bad. They need to be present in the right ratios.
Yeah. I mean, this is why you see it in extreme situations at the end of prep, but same thing happens with, extended dieting as the brain fog is real.
It's for real.
Start forgetting things.
If you're a woman, by the way, who's like under 14, 12%, or a man that's like under 12% body fat and you're wondering why you have brain fog,
ding, ding, ding.
There's your answer. I'm not saying don't do it. If you want to do it to compete in bodybuilding, cool, that's great. But make sure you get back above that, because like the only people that can feel good that way, like year round, there are some I do think some people genetically can handle it and they're fine, or they're young. People, when you're young, you can get away with it more. But after about 25, walking around like that, even if you are replacing all of your thyroid hormones and all of your sex hormones, you're still not going to feel the same. Talk to like bodybuilders that are on tons of exogenous hormones. Once they get that low body fat, they have tons of testosterone and everything else that should like make you feel good. They feel like crap. They feel horrible.
Yeah, Amanda, I mean, that carb loading and water loading and, getting that food the week of, like in peak week, it feels like you're a whole new person,
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness, the world is open and alive around me for the first time.
Yeah, it's like a drug, basically. It's like you've been like famished forever and your body's finally getting a taste of what it needs. It's not even that big of a taste because you can't have a whole lot, but you get to have some. But like, if you refeed properly and don't do what some people do and have like 2 pizzas or something, because that'll make you feel a different kind of bad. But like, if you refeed properly, that week after you compete, you'll feel amazing. But you might feel like you felt better than you've ever felt. For me, it's the opposite. I feel amazing because of not eating as much because I'm a strength athlete. And I'm usually counting calories leading up to something or whatever. But it's a similar effect, but for different reasons. It's like, yes, I had an unbalanced diet, and that was the consequence. I had to go. You have to go back at some point. So, like, if you're someone that got down to that body fat level, good for you. That's great. But what's actually healthy for you, like for women, like 14% is probably the floor for you to be able to feel okay. And for men, about 12% is probably the floor, especially if you're over 25. Not that most people listening to this are probably struggling in this particular area. Just realize that if like that's your goal, it's unrealistic to stay there for very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Amanda,
sure.
do you want to talk about like that? You do talk about this. We just talked about it in terms of prep and things like that. But you can have low sex hormones and low thyroid hormones, and it cause major brain fog.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't happen just from extended dieting. If you're obese, you probably have hormones that are off. You can just be a regular person and have hormones that are off. So just something that happens as you age. And I think anytime a hormone is off, it affects something how you feel physiologically, but also just your brain, your thinking. You might be more wired or more awake, or you might have more brain fog, or some bloating, especially if you're estrogen dominant. That's going to be causing some digestive issues. So, yeah,
Yeah, and
lifestyle
estrogen,
adjustments is where to
high
go ahead.
estrogen is like a self-perpetuating machine too. High estrogen slows down digestion, and the slower your digestion, the less your ability to actually clear estrogen. This is
Mhm.
particularly true of women. So it's like this self-perpetuating thing where, yes, it causes bloat, it causes digestion slowdown, and when your digestion is slow, you don't. That's primarily how women purge high levels of estrogen. So you will continue to reabsorb it. So
Mhm.
like it can become sort of a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
And
for
guess what
sure.
helps move food along really well? Carbs.
Water.
I mean,
Yes.
yes, you have to have adequate hydration, but like carbs like literally stimulate like gastric emptying.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean fiber in
Yeah.
general. Like I wouldn't necessarily go for just any carb, but maybe go for something a little higher fiber and
Hmm.
um, get everything moving along. So
Yeah.
that can definitely help. It can help with your estrogen levels and the bloating by
Hmm.
getting a little
Right.
extra fiber in. And then if really necessary, get some hormone replacement therapy.
Hmm.
People feel wildly better whenever they get that, especially going into perimenopause, menopause.
My name is Justin Johnson with High Calling Fitness. Maybe you're tired, gaining weight, waking up with joint pain, back pain, and a body that just doesn't feel like it used to. You've tried to fix it, but nothing seems to last. What if you don't need another app or crash diet, but a real coach, someone to meet you where you're at and walk with you step by step? At High Calling Fitness, our coaching comes to you wherever you are. No matter where you live, small town or city, across the country or across the world, your health still matters. You don't have to go it alone. We build personalized plans based on your goals, your schedule, and your equipment, even if it's just a set of dumbbells in a small space. This isn't just training, it's a personal partnership. You'll get weekly updates, one-on-one access to your coach, and ongoing support through Zoom and Slack every step of the way. We're here to help you build strength, restore energy, and claim the life you were meant to live. Book a free consult today. Let's talk about your goals and see how we can build something better together. High Calling Fitness, built for the everyday, ready for the extraordinary.
And that bloating, brain fog just kind of disappears.
Right.
Women will often say, like, I feel like a brand new person. I didn't even realize how bad I felt until I felt better. So,
Yeah.
not just to sit here and push hormone replacement or anything, but it really, really does help for those who are good candidates for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just for women. Like you always say, you always talk about this for men. Like a lot of men think that the first sign of low testosterone is going to be erectile dysfunction, when really brain fog is one of the number one
Yeah, that's
first
the last
symptoms
sign.
of low T.
Yeah,
Exactly.
erectile
Yeah.
dysfunction, like that's the last thing to go for a man.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that happens, you've probably been low for like a decade or more, or something serious happened that really killed your testosterone. Typically, long before that, you've already got memory issues and brain fog, and just that lack of like drive and feeling good. You feel old, honestly. Like you feel old beyond your age, and not in a wise way, but in a like you're dumber. You can't like if you're having a hard time recalling like names, words, basic things. If you feel disoriented sometimes, just general brain fog, things aren't clicking the way they should be, lack of drive, just motivation in general. That's something that should get checked. Like that might be all that's going on for you. And I have worked with guys. It's like we get everything resolved before we even go on testosterone. Where like their diet is what it should be. They're training. They're not excessively overweight, maybe just a little bit. And we still check their testosterone. And yeah, it's improved like 20%, but 20% on top of low testosterone isn't going to make a big difference. Some guys get like all excited because they get their testosterone to go from like 200 to 300. Well, like that's great that you got a 50% jump, but you're not even, you have to multiply it to actually resolve the symptoms.
Yeah.
So that might be what you need to feel well.
Yeah, definitely. So, want to go on to the
Food
next
sensitivities. Yeah, let's go to food sensitivities.
Food sensitivities, well, allergies in general are going to cause inflammation. And
Yeah.
inflammation will almost always cause brain fog. So really you've got to figure out what it is that's causing that. So how you rule that out is kind of eliminating a lot of things and then slowly adding one thing at a time back in. So you can see and actually realize how you're feeling as you add foods back in. And it really could be anything. I wouldn't recommend those food sensitivity tests. It's usually like a little pinprick, and then you send it into a lab, and they tell you what foods you're sensitive to. They're just incredibly unreliable because anything that you've eaten a lot of recently is going to show as a sensitivity on the test. So it might not even be something you're actually sensitive to. If you've had a lot of eggs lately, you're going to show sensitive to that. If you've had a lot of dairy lately, you're going to show sensitive to that, even if it might not be true. So elimination's really the best way to go.
The way
as
that
far as
I think of those, because I've used them before, and I think they can be very helpful, but you have to take them in context.
Yeah.
And it's more like this, just because you show up positive for something doesn't really mean much of anything. It just means that that's what, as you go to eliminate, you should probably cut those things out, just like you might have anyway, and just see what happens. But it is not a absolute positive confirmation that you have any sensitivity to anything whatsoever, basically. It just means that like, these are things that you might react to, and you should see by cutting them out for a few weeks and adding them back in. When I did one, man, like I think I did the first one I did like 4 years ago, maybe more. It showed me as reactive to a bunch of things. A couple of them were true because I eliminated them and it worked out. But by the way, food sensitivities are also not necessarily permanent.
Yeah.
At the time, I suspected eggs, chicken eggs specifically, and I was highly and it showed me as highly reactive to them. I hadn't been eating them lately even, so that was like even more confirmation because of that context. If I had been eating eggs and it showed, I still probably would have eliminated them and seen. But anyway, I eliminated chicken eggs for a while, switched to duck eggs. It took me about 3.5 years before I could eat chicken eggs with any regularity. In between that time, once in a while I'd have like one or two just to see, and I would just feel horrible. And now I can eat chicken eggs and it's fine. So like these sensitivities don't necessarily last forever. Same thing for beer, because I think I showed up reactive to barley, which I don't drink a whole lot of beer anyway. But like I was at a point where like if I drank one beer, my digestion would be wrecked for like 3 or 4 days. Like it would be absolutely terrible. Now, if I have a beer, and that was like even a light beer. Now I could have a beer, it doesn't do anything. So sometimes you just have to step away from something for a while because it's aggravated, and then you can add it back in. But, you know, the gut microbiome is complex and slow changing. It can take a while.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just like dump a bunch of probiotics in there on an elimination diet and think like, okay, I'm fixed. I can go right back to whatever the thing was. Probably not. It doesn't really work that way because probiotics can be useful, but I don't think they're that useful in general, certainly not to do anything fast, because there are like millions of different bacteria in the gut, as far as like different kinds. And so all you're doing with probiotics is just dumping a bunch in there. Could be a bunch of what you need, what you don't need, most likely a bunch that just you don't, it's not going to hurt, it's not going to help, it's just going to kind of be there. And that kind of shotgun approach isn't really going to do much. Typically what you're going to do is just not eat the thing for a while. And it could be years before you can eat it again.
Yeah, I think a good practice for everyone is just to learn to pay attention to how food makes you feel. Like, I'm always surprised the amount of people that just like have no clue. You know, if you start asking them questions about like, well, how, you know, if they're concerned, like, should I cut out dairy? Should I cut out gluten? Should I cut out, you know, whatever nightshades? And it's like, well, how does it make you feel? And they'll have no clue, you know, like they can't even answer because they've never had that thought even before to think about how a food makes them feel. So it's just a good practice, I think, for everyone to start with, and just start paying attention to. It's something we teach our kids, you know, if they're feeling poorly or they keep having a consistent headache or consistent stomach ache or consistent just, you know, something else that's weird that's happening. Will, you know, happen to be like, well, did it happen after you ate this or did it happen after this? You know, oh, pay attention next time you eat that, pay attention. Not that you want to like put anything in their head. So you want to be like really casual about it, right? Like just happen to notice next time, you know, the mind is a powerful thing. So you don't want to make them think that there's
the placebo
something there
effect.
that's not.
You can teach a placebo effect to a person really quick.
Kids.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when my older son, when he was little, he had like a Valentine's party, part of their like church Sunday school kids group thing. And he felt terrible afterward. He was like, I don't know why I feel so bad. Come to find out he had like 14 Valentine's cookies.
Yeah.
Like those white sugar cookies with the frosting that you get in plastic packages at Walmart. Like those kind. I was like, well, obviously.
Man. I have a hilarious story for you that I'm going to tell you off air.
Let's do it now. The name shall be anonymous.
You want me to tell it?
Yeah, because this is the kind of stuff that happens regularly, and people need to know what to look out for.
We know someone who they are convinced, like they are absolutely convinced that their one child is allergic to chocolate, because every single time their kid eats a lot of chocolate, he gets a stomach ache and throws up. I'm just like.
But we're talking, it'll be like
a lot.
Over a dozen pieces of chocolate.
A lot of chocolate.
That's like on Parks and Rec when Andy Dwyer is like, I think I'm allergic to sushi. Every time I eat 80 sushis, I barf.
Yeah. Well, if you eat 70 pieces of sushi, that's my limit. It's not an allergy.
Just stuff like that, you guys. Just have some common sense and pay attention.
Yeah.
Every time I binge on food, I feel awful. I should stop eating that kind of food.
I must feel
just because binging on something makes you feel bad doesn't mean that you're reacting to that thing. It's a portion control issue. And the thing that's tricky about elimination diets too, by the way, is like, you know, to me, like my favorite kind of elimination diet would be something like meat, veggies, fruits.
Yeah.
But you might be reactive to a meat, a veggie, or a fruit. Mm-hmm. So you have to even like be very aware that like, even if you do this for a time and you still feel poorly, then you might have to be like, okay, let's try to take all of this meat out, replace it with that. In my case, like years ago, it was eggs for a while. And so like that would usually be, you know, something that would be on an elimination diet, depending on, you know, how you're doing it. I also was very reactive to chicken meat. I went like a couple of years without having any chicken. Just because that's what was needed. Now I'm fine. I have chicken for lunch every day. But there was a time where that would just mess my digestion up, and I was totally intolerant of any chicken meat, basically whatsoever. So just be aware, like an elimination diet, just because you like have this baseline of like, okay, I'm going to eat beef, chicken, and whatever, apples and salad, you know, whatever. And even salad, it's a bunch of different leafy greens. So which one you're active to, if it doesn't go away, then you have to be like, okay, I'm going to replace the fruit with this fruit. I'm going to take this meat away and replace it with that meat. It can be a little bit complicated. Mm-hmm. This is where I do like those tests, because on an elimination diet, it can actually be a really good time to take the test. Again, even in those circumstances, if you show as reactive to something, it means almost nothing. That means you should investigate it by removing it for a few weeks and bringing it back in. But you might not notice a single thing when you do that, even to something that you show as highly reactive to. It doesn't mean much in isolation. It's just add this to the list of things I should see if I'm reactive to.
Yeah. And even though some kind of sensitivities are really specific to like a particular fruit or vegetable, you can kind of think of them in like classes, like cruciferous vegetables or there's nightshades. There's, like my mom's allergic to anything that grows on a vine, like
Right.
pumpkins and any kind of gourd and watermelon. Like there's something in that she can't handle. So you can kind of approach them as like different classifications.
Definitely.
And
same with dairy. Like some people can do hard cheeses versus soft cheeses, or A2 dairy or raw dairy, but not conventional. Like
I
feel
can do
free
all
to
the
dig
dairy.
in. Yeah, Justin has dairy superpowers.
Norwegian super genes right here.
nice.
I can have unlimited amounts of dairy. It means nothing to me. I love it.
For GOMAD.
Yeah, it does make gaining weight easy when I want to gain weight. I tell you what,
it's just like cheesecake.
Without, I don't use I rarely, even when I'm gaining weight, will rarely resort to that. That's I usually only do that classically the night before competition.
Yeah.
That's when to eat cheesecake.
There's an image of Eddie Hall from his documentary eating cheesecake and then like almost dying that's seared in my brain.
Well, Eddie would buy a family size cheesecake. And they weren't massive, but I saw a picture. It was pretty good size. And he would eat a whole one every day. He'd eat like half in the afternoon and half at night or something.
When he broke the deadlift world record.
Yeah. And and he was eating like when he would, his intro workout was a Subway sandwich. Like don't do that, by the way. But yeah, we're not talking about extremes. So I think we've killed the that as far as it pertains to food sensitivity and stuff. There are vitamin and mineral deficiencies that we see sometimes. So what are some of the common ones we see in people and that we've observed?
Well, iron for one, like if you're anemic, you're going to feel weak. That's going to bring the brain fog. So that's something to check.
Can I talk about iron for a minute?
Real quick? Sure.
Real quick. This is just something I've seen in my own blood work in the past and other guys, and this is particularly true if you're on testosterone replacement. You will go through iron more because you're going to make more red blood cells. This is almost never an actual problem. If your red blood cells are getting out of control, you should check for sleep apnea. It probably doesn't have much to do with the testosterone. The TRT probably just made the apnea worse because you're holding more fluid in the body in general, and so it's more constriction on the throat. You also tend to develop more neck muscles, even if you're not training them. I have a very large neck, and I've never trained my neck in my life, and I never will. And I have pretty bad sleep apnea. That said, if you see that your RDW is out of range, but everything else seems okay, and especially if you feel like you just aren't, like no matter what, you can't condition yourself properly, like it's easy for you to get out of breath, and despite conditioning, it doesn't really go anywhere, check ferritin and iron. But typically the main cause of guys that I see that have elevated red blood cell counts, elevated hematocrit, hemoglobin, either any one of these or any combination, and your RDW is not in range, typically I've seen that be a low iron. RDW is basically the shape of the red blood cells themselves. They're supposed to be that sort of like donut shape with the filled in flat inside. And basically RDW is seeing like what that dimple is like. Like, is there a proper dimple in the middle, or is there not? Is it malformed? That kind of thing. If your RDW isn't where it should be, then probably you don't have enough iron, and so you're basically making funky shaped red blood cells because of an iron deficiency. It's again pretty common in men who are on testosterone and who are training a lot, because you also go through more red blood cells. They do, like, they actually wear out. They have a lifespan, and basically they can only hold oxygen and let go of oxygen so many times. So it is worth checking that. It's standard in a red blood cell test. So I often don't even have a guy bother with checking iron and ferritin levels. If I see RDW that's off, but they have healthy or even slightly high levels of red blood cells, hematocrit, hemoglobin, I just tell them take a like a heme iron supplement or something like that. Often it resolves very rapidly. So just a quick note on that for men.
Nearly as much iron as women do. Women usually have iron in their supplement, like in a multivitamin, whereas men don't, just because of losing blood every month. So it has to be replenished. But yeah, you do see it occasionally in men.
I just see it a little more often in men on testosterone.
A lot of women will be anemic when they're pregnant as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, you basically go like your blood volume goes basically to male levels. Men have about half again as much blood as a woman walking around normally. When you're pregnant, by the time you get to the end, you have about as much blood as a man. And just because of more metabolic load, etc., you also burn through them faster.
Yeah, I had to take iron every time I was pregnant.
Yeah, it's very common. Very, very common.
Yeah, which really sucks whenever you have like bad morning sickness because the iron pills are also
Rough on
going
your
to cause
belly.
nausea.
Yeah, some mornings I was just like, nope.
Yeah, no, you just, and it doesn't matter when you take iron, so it's fine to take it with whatever your big. If usually your biggest meal is going to be dinner, then take it at dinner. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
If
not
you
like
have
it's a
to
timing
take a
thing.
supplement that makes your stomach feel weird, take it at night and fall asleep, and you'll
Yeah,
probably be better.
yeah. Iron supplementation timing is pretty much irrelevant. It's not going to really matter when you get it, so long as you get it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you on the iron thing. It's just something
it's
I've
good.
noticed a lot and thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah. Vitamin D is another one. Vitamin D being low will cause depression, and depression will cause brain fog. So,
Yeah.
get outside in the sun. We talk about morning routine all the time. So, you guys know what it is already.
Yeah.
We'll get a nice
Get
tan.
outside, and occasionally you'll need to supplement. If you do need a supplement, get a D3K2, not just the D3 by itself.
Yeah.
Magnesium. Tons of people are low on magnesium. I don't really know how I do it, but even with the increase in all my electrolytes right now, I hit magnesium pretty well dietarily to not need a supplement, but that's not the case for a lot of people. I think it's just that's how my food choices have landed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most people will be pretty low or not really quite at the right level. So
Yeah.
that's a good one to supplement if you find out that you're low on that as well. You want to talk about the choline?
Yeah. So choline, the main thing that has the most choline in it that's common in our diets are chicken eggs. They have like a lot of choline in them. So it's specifically in the yolk. So if you're dieting and you're eating like a lot of egg whites and hardly any egg yolks, you're going to be getting less choline, that kind of thing. If you want to supplement choline, just get alpha GPC. There are numerous manufacturers. It's all over the place. It's the only formulation of choline that I'm aware of that's orally bioavailable. And it does work very well for that purpose. You can inject it too. There are gray market places to get it. It's very effective, especially for strength athletes. You do tend to deplete choline when you're training heavy, just because of you actually like burn through so much because of the neural activity. And so alpha GPC and or actually injecting it intramuscularly can be really, really helpful, in my opinion. I've used it, and it's actually like I've had brain fog issues and even sleep issues from not getting choline. And when I'm training heavy and like, prepping for something, I have to use the injectable version because I just can't get enough from pills, basically.
Yeah, especially for pregnant women, the research has come out the last few years that you need an incredible amount more choline when you're pregnant than not pregnant. It's like 100 times or something. Like it's you almost can't get too much choline when you're pregnant. And so a lot of the the memory stuff, the pregnancy brain, it's probably just choline depletion that we're seeing in a lot of women. And
I think that's more profound than the hormone changes as far as brain fog.
I totally agree. Like now that we've seen how much they need, because you're literally, your body's changing so much, and so you're going through much of it, but you're literally also growing a brain, like a baby brain. And so you just need a lot of choline in your diet. And so if you're having that big pregnancy brain struggle when you're pregnant, really look into a choline supplement. I've seen a few prenatals start to have it, but it's kind of newer research just the past few years. So it might be something you have to supplement.
No prenatal is going to have enough.
Probably not. Yeah.
The volume is bigger than you can have in a multivitamin type of format. Like you have to take it on its own.
Yeah.
So you're not eating for 2, but you're taking choline for 100.
You are taking choline
It's true. Do not try to eat for 2 when you're pregnant. It doesn't work. You only need like an extra like 200 or 300 calories a day if you average it out. It's not real. But some things you do need a lot more of.
Yeah.
Actually, most of the things on this list, choline, iron, and B12, you need a lot more when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And we actually Emily just recently discovered on Amazon, you can get B12 patches. We haven't tried them yet.
Interesting.
But that's
B12
pretty cool.
and iron patches I found, which is very interesting. So
yeah, and because those are two things that are not readily absorbed, basically through the gut. Like iron is tough for the gut to absorb, especially in a supplement format. That's why like taking it with food is actually can help you absorb more. But B12 too, like those of you that taken like B supplements, you've seen how yellow like your pee turns. Guess what? That's you getting rid of it. So like you are not absorbing that much. Whereas if you have a patch, it goes into the bloodstream.
Yeah, there are people who think that it's more of a stimulant effect. B12, they're like, oh, I need my B12 for energy. I'm like, no, B12 supports energy metabolism, but it's not a stimulant. It's not going to,
If you're low on B12, you actually don't sleep as well, but it's not because you're stimulated. It's just because like you don't metabolize anything very well right now. Like everything just stinks. Your mitochondria are basically like the brakes have been pumped. So that's all that is going on there. Like if you feel energized from B12, it's because you were really low.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's because energy drinks having taurine, which is, I forget which B number it is. It's one of the B complex family. Yes, taurine does do it. How much taurine is in a normal B12, like B complex vitamin, is like way less than what you'd find in like an energy drink. Do not fear the B12 multivitamin. It's okay. I mean, I still would generally recommend taking it in the morning, but I don't supplement it right now because I don't need it, but there have been times when I've supplemented it. And I actually would notice that I would feel tired after having the B12, which is probably more of an indicator that like I was low and it was affecting my sleep. And that's what I actually need for sleep. So I actually shifted to having it at night after I noticed that.
Yeah, I do think, since you mentioned taurine, I'll say this. I think people need to be familiar with other names for vitamins because there's like a particular crunchy crowd that will see something on a food label and be like, there's chemicals in this. I'm like, because it says pyridoxine hydrochloride. I'm like, I think B6, it's one of the Bs. Ascorbic acid is vitamin C. Like you'll see these things on labels, but it's just a different name for the vitamin. So if you're at least familiar with what those are, you can catch that on a label and realize it's not that bad for you.
Yeah, totally. So
cool.
we move on?
I mean, we talked about electrolytes.
Yep.
We don't need to talk about it again. You might be low. And one thing I've observed with a lot of people when they switch to a whole food type of diet, which is what we should all be eating, and you cut out processed foods, your sodium intake does go down. And so you may need to make sure you're salting your food heavily.
Yeah.
I've said this other part before, but I'm going to say it again. Most of the meat that humans ate in history was very salted because that's how it had to be preserved. Humans are used to and biologically compatible with having a lot of salt in their diet. You might not be getting enough if you're not having heavily salted meats, which most of us are not. So it's okay for most people to heavily salt their food so long as you're getting adequate water intake.
Yeah. I actually put light salt, the one it's about 50% sodium and potassium.
Yeah, potassium. Yeah.
And I put that in my intro workout drink. Well, or even just my water that I'm having during the day.
I do too.
Yeah. And it'll spread that all throughout the day while you're having your water. And so you're getting the hydration, getting a little bit
salt in my water. It makes it taste better.
My intro workout drink for years. And when people ask me like, what's your pre-workout or whatever, like if I don't usually do a pre-workout, but if I do, it's a Rice Krispies treat. And my intro workout for years has been the same thing. It's what was it? Half teaspoon, I think of
half teaspoon of light salt.
And just enough Gatorade powder to like flavor it.
Yeah.
It probably equates to like 10 grams of carbs or something like that. If that, it's really not much.
Yeah. I'm not really a cold water person, but if you like don't like the taste of the salt in your water, it's not as bad if you have it cold. So It is.
So
It's
you're
not
one of
as
those warm
noticeable.
water drinkers?
Well, I like room temperature water because it hurts my teeth when it's really, really cold.
I mean, I don't like it freezing cold, but man.
Justin will only drink cold water, and I drink all my water in the winter. I drink all my water warm, and he teases me for it. But I'm like, it's gonna make me cold, and I hate to be cold.
Room temperature is fine.
It helps me drink more water.
Room temperature is fine. It's the warm water, like that's that's a lizard person thing.
I like it.
I don't do warm water. It's just like my front teeth. I chipped them, so like the bottom half of them are both fake, and it's very, very sensitive to cold. I even like when I brush my teeth with warm water when I rinse my mouth.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Gross.
Feels better. For digestion, I know we already talked about hydration, electrolytes, food sensitivities. But one that can be overlooked is SIBO. So a lot of people will take extra probiotics when they feel like something's wrong with their stomach. You do not want to do that if you have
you're feeding the machine.
SIBO. So that means small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So you really need to get that to a lower number.
And low FODMAP diet will work really well for that. Mm-hmm. Basically, like there's a bunch of starches that you shouldn't eat very much of. That's mostly what it is. Go look it up. We don't need to go into it. Maybe we'll do a podcast on it. But like, honestly, typically a month of that and you're good again.
Yeah.
Maybe drink some alcohol while you're doing this. I don't know. I mean, I haven't tried it, but in theory, it's a thought that I've had I think I've told this to Emily before, like maybe low FODMAP diet and like, some whiskey every night.
Yeah.
for medicinal purposes.
Measure it.
Right.
I don't know.
There's been a lot of buzzwords around gut health for a long time now. I mean, probably the
celiac.
Right. Celiac, candida, leaky gut. Everyone thinks they have a parasite sort of thing. And like, I'm not saying that those things like never happen. But what I will say is that no matter what is going on in your gut, there is no way that you're going to get around the fact that you're going to have to clean up your diet. You're going to have to stop eating out so much. You're going to have to stop eating crap.
Yeah. What do you think brought it on in the first place?
Yeah. You have to clean it up. Like no matter what supplement you take or anything else, like without cleaning up your diet really, really well, all of this stuff is probably going to remain an issue for you.
Yeah. I do think parasites are a little more common than people used to have thought. But there's not like some people suggest, just take ivermectin for all of them. Well, that's not going to work for every single type of parasite. You need to get it tested, see what you actually have, or if you have anything, and treat it with what's specifically for that. But, I mean, the reason it's a little more common, especially as people get more backyard chickens and they're getting into these homestead things or if you have a bunch of animals in your home, like you're around animal poop a lot. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason they get given dewormers. So there's something to check if you feel like, I've tried everything and I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
It's worth
This is something that annoys me about fitness influencer coaches posting before and after pictures of like, look what we did. It's always a woman. Like, look at how much we fixed her gut in like a month. I'm so amazing, whatever. And it's like, and you might get a woman to like drop 15 pounds in a month, no problem. And they'll show a picture of her with like a super distended gut. A month later, everything's back where it should be, totally fine. It's not rocket science. And it doesn't make you an amazing coach for putting someone on a low FODMAP diet. Like SIBO is not usually that complicated. Yes, sometimes antibiotics are needed, but it's so rare. It's probably less than 1% of the time. And all antibiotics are doing is speeding up what you would accomplish with diet alone. It's just happening faster. But for most cases of SIBO or any type of like gut issues like that, where we have a bacterial overgrowth, low FODMAP diet will resolve it. Of course, we make diet plans for people that do this, but like it's not that complicated. And I don't, it's like, it'd almost be easier to be like, oh yeah, come talk to us. We know the secret. But the thing is none of what we do is a secret. It's just putting the right pieces together. It's like applying the fundamentals masterfully. That's what good coaching is, but it's rarely anything that's that complicated. It's just like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. I know what to do. And then help, actually realistically implementing that into someone's life, which is really where it's more complicated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's still a lot, and we're finding out more and more all the time. There is so much we do not understand about the gut right now. Like the gut is very complex and all of that it interacts with and all of the seeding that goes on in it. I mean, we're finding like it interacts with your sex hormones and your immune system and your brain communication and all of those sorts of things. Plus you add in all of the types of bacteria that are in there that are unique to you, that a lot of them were seeded like at birth and then change over time. Like there is a ton going on that we're just still learning about. And so in general, we'd rather take the like low and slow, let's clean up the diet, let's get you eating more fiber, let's get the water intake down, let's get your stress levels down, let's figure out what foods you're reacting to approach, than throwing a ton of supplements on it or antibiotics or anything like that, because that's going to lead to better like long-term results. And then you're going to have the knowledge to go with it of like what's actually bothering you and triggering it, that sort of thing. Like, and it might be something like we talked about earlier with the food sensitivities, like that you don't really expect. And it might take quite a while to figure out like some of those things that you can and can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, you can't supplement your way out of bad lifestyle. Like, don't try that. Supplements are to add on. There's something to add on to what you're doing that's already good, but they're called supplements for a reason. It's not like the linchpin of your health. It's something that you need to make the good choices you're making go further. But just stacking supplement, like there's so many companies, coaches, people in our world that are like pushing like, just take this supplement that does this or whatever. No, it doesn't work. I remember seeing, there was a while there, slightly post-COVID, where like there were all these ivermectin providers that were like, do you have bloating? Do you have low energy? Do you have this? Do you have this? Then try ivermectin, which, by the way, if you take ivermectin, you don't need it. It doesn't really seem to do particular harm if you take it for a month. So like, it's fine if you want to do that. I'm not saying don't do it. Like, it's probably not going to hurt anything, but don't expect that to fix everything, and don't expect yourself to not get to the same place that got you there if you haven't made any changes.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. So let's talk about some of the fixes for low energy real quick that we haven't really addressed yet. So like stress specifically, how do we adjust stress? Which, by the way, if you have everything dialed in and you have a lot of stress in your life, you may need to compensate for it somewhere. Like, and yes, we should try to reduce stress as much as we can, but you go through seasons of life where the inevitable happens. There's a lot of stress. It can make all of these things happen, even if your diet and lifestyle is where it should be. So what are some compensating controls we could potentially put in place for someone that is going through a stressful time? It's unavoidable. It just is what it is, because that's what happens in life.
Yeah, going back to the morning routine, just making that a priority. The way that you wake up in the morning sets the tone for how you go to bed. Your bedtime routine isn't where that starts. It starts first thing in the morning. So
the bedtime routine is where it ends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, I did this an hour before bed. I'm like, okay, what about 15, 16 hours ago? What did you do? So, getting out, walking, not doing something stressful right when you get up and don't just jump right into working and things like that. I really enjoy just sitting down and reading my Bible first thing. And that sets the tone for the day. Getting outside in the morning, sunlight, if possible. I know that's not always possible, weather permitting, but that's a good one.
Still very beneficial to get outside if it's cold and cloudy.
It still feels good to step
it's still
outside.
You're still getting circadian signaling. You're still getting quite a bit of the biological benefits of being outside without the sun being present. Like, still do it.
Yep.
One thing with the morning routine, I'll just kind of go over what that, especially women are the most sensitive to having a good morning routine. So I'll just outline a few things I like to see in the first hour. One is you shouldn't do anything that you're responsible to do basically in the first hour, as far as like getting the kids ready, getting ready for the day, work, anything like that. It should be as quiet and low key as possible. Like, it should, you should just float through your morning routine. So this is a time to go for a walk. I like to see at least 30 grams of protein consumed in the first hour of waking. This is a time to read, pray, walk, go outside for a little bit. Those types of things. If you're trying to get steps in, then this is time to go get your steps in. Treadmill or outside. Outside I prefer. Either way, get outside for at least a few minutes. But it should be like a very quiet beginning of the day that also involves some protein intake. Again, 30 grams would be preferable.
Yeah, it really is a hack, moms. And I heard this from Vodi Bakham's wife years and years ago and took it to heart. And she was like, the ultimate hack for homeschooling your children well is to get up before your children.
Yeah.
And I get that some seasons you just can't do that. You know, like some seasons you're just so darn tired. You're like, I'm taking every
or if you have a
minute.
newborn.
That's typically like
Exactly.
newborn. Yeah. That's like newborn phase. But like once you're out of that.
As soon as you can, it really is a good hack for the rest of your day going a whole lot better.
Yeah, it is. And vagus nerve stimulation is pretty easy. There are all sorts of devices I've seen ads for, and electronics and stuff like that, which I don't recommend putting electronics around your brain to do this. You just need cold. So take an ice pack, put it on the base of your skull, put it just behind the ears, that kind of thing, or on your eyes. Basically, you want to get like a brain freeze or something like it. Usually just takes 3 to 5 minutes. You're good. You can also chug really cold ice water or like shaved ice or something and actually kind of get a brain freeze. That's actually like what you're trying to do. That is probably the most effective, simple way of vagus nerve stimulation. Great thing to do at the end of the day. When your day is done, you're done with your tasks and it was a stressful day and you're just dealing with a lot. It's a great way to come back down, get you in that parasympathetic state, prepare you to have a good evening that's free from some of those cares and just kind of be a good reset. But it's okay to do throughout the day too. Like it's not like you can really do it too much necessarily as far as I'm aware. But you especially the evening, if you're struggling with stress management, that's a really good time to do it. Mm-hmm. And as woo-woo as it may sound, breathing exercises do work. Typically this is just like box breathing or something like that, where you're counting to 4, breathing in, hold it for 3 to 4 another 4 seconds, and then exhale for about 4 seconds under pressure. You want some back pressure in your mouth when you exhale. Inhale through your nose. Do that for a few minutes. That can help a lot. There's even evidence that humming is useful. I think it's mostly from the back pressure. Not totally sure, but like the like old school meditative, like people saying "Om." Yeah, it's actually vagus nerve stimulation. Like that, it does actually have a real stress reduction like effect biologically. This isn't some spiritual thing. This is just how we work biologically. So like
somebody figured it out.
Yeah, so try it. You just don't have to do all the other spiritual idol worship parts of it.
I wonder if that made me think of like when someone's in a lot of pain, like women in labor, or you broke a bone, or I can remember when my gallbladder was infected and I had to get it out. Like sometimes when you're in immense pain, you'll find yourself just naturally going like you're humming. And I wonder if that's like
involuntary.
Interesting.
Involuntary, calming yourself down kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
It could be. Maybe it's like a slight relief and you don't even really consciously know it, but it's kind of like a relief-seeking type of behavior. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be. I don't know, but that's a good idea. I haven't thought about that before. What about insulin sensitivity? Like, 50% of Americans probably have.
Yeah,
or more.
I think this is a big one that a lot of people say that they have no energy is because they don't feel good because their blood sugars are not being regulated properly. And they just don't realize it. But they just like wake up and they're tired. They get to the afternoon and they're tired. So they feel like it's an energy, like an inputs issue, when really it's probably more of a blood sugar issue. What do you think, Amanda?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if this has as much to do with, I mean, it has a lot to do with nutrition, but it has a lot also to do with just not training properly, like people avoiding doing any kind of resistance training, or they're not doing anything at all, or they're just cardio only, and that's just, not going to give your carbs much to do if you don't have some muscle. So, not that carbs aren't bad anyway, or not that carbs are bad anyway, but yeah, just if you're training properly, then that's going to improve your insulin sensitivity. You're going to find yourself having more energy in the first place by doing that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
A lot of people have this feeling like training is going to have a net negative effect on your energy levels. And it's been demonstrated to be very much the opposite. It's a stimulatory effect. And then, of course, it makes you more competent in handling energy input and having proper insulin sensitivity. So you'll just feel better all the time. It is an investment in not just your health, but also just how you feel and how capable you are.
Yeah, I can think back to when I was just doing running. Like I was just doing cardio. For some reason, I thought that was like the healthiest thing to do, and don't do anything else. And I remember feeling like I had to take a nap during the day every day.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that now. Like I think I only take a nap if I'm sick, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm not tired. I'm not crashing in the middle of the day. And strength training and resistance training will help a lot with that. But also making sure you eat the right kind of carbs. Like don't just load yourself up on sugars. Eat fruits and vegetables, you know, whole grain or starchy things. Like potatoes are fine. It's the fries that get you. So
Right.
yeah, well, the fries is just, I think that's mostly just due to like leading to binging and all the rancid oils that tend to be in fries. Like,
Yeah.
When I think of
just hear
someone
so many
like
people. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say when I think of someone like this, I think of your typical like office worker, especially like guys who have desk jobs and like maybe they had a coffee and a donut on the way to work, and then they open a can of Coke at 10 a.m. and then they go out to eat for lunch, and then by 2 o'clock they need to have a bag of chips and another soda, and then they go home and have dinner, and then maybe they have a bowl of cereal before they go to bed. Like that is just a recipe for insulin chaos when you take that type of food coupled with a desk job where you've literally been sitting all day and given all that sugar absolutely nothing to do. So it's just been circulating in your bloodstream all day over and over again. Like you will feel terrible. You will feel like you have no energy.
Yeah. So it turns into this vicious cycle because people will feel better when they're binging those carbs and sugars for like a little bit, and then the crash happens, and so you have more. And the more that you're having is causing further damage, and the only way is just you got to stop the cycle.
Just up and down all day. I
don't want to turn this into like this is how you should eat, like diet type thing. We've talked about that a lot in the past, so and we're already over an hour in on this one. So I think we can I think we hit the lifestyle things, I mean, at a high level, obviously. And so first steps, if you're, dealing with this kind of thing, get some blood work done. That's always a good place to start to see and everything that's out of range doesn't necessarily mean something. It's all in context of what's going on in your life and things like that. So anyone that's helping with your blood work, they should have questions about what you're eating, what you're doing, what your sleep's like, what your various lifestyle factors are. And then that leads us down the path of finding where an actual problem may or may not be. But if something is off, then kind of go through this list that we've kind of talked through the last hour as far as what you're eating, what your sleep's like, what your food, all those sort of various lifestyle factors. And, obviously we can help you design a program and a plan to address this, because the complexity isn't necessarily in the right things to do. It's bringing it all together in a holistic package that works realistically with someone's life. That's kind of where the real challenge is. And of course, what coaching does is give you someone to help hold you accountable and hold your hand through the process and just address the wild card things in life. You don't know what to do because you don't have your controlled environment at home because you're somewhere else. And how do you realistically seek the right foods when you're out and about sometimes and didn't have a plan? How to get more accustomed to planning, that kind of thing. So I'm happy to help you with this, but these are the sort of the fundamentals. You put these pieces together and you can potentially, do pretty well. But these are the things that we kind of tend to look for. And then sort of again, address it with a more holistic plan and sort of help someone take steps toward rehabbing health. If you have, high blood pressure, brain fog, insulin sensitivity issues, those sorts of things, whether you know it or not, as far as what the real diagnosis should be, just know that these things are almost always reversible. I have never run into someone that we couldn't reverse type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure. I have a couple clients that are still on high blood pressure medication, but they're also ones that haven't done everything that we've tried to do. They've just been able to they've been able to reduce their dose, but the ones still on it are all people that have not, totally followed everything. But everyone that is, totally compliant, they've been able to reverse it. And it's been done many times. It's not, and this is something that many coaches have done. It's all very doable. We can return the body typically to functioning in a good state. Yes, some people will have high blood pressure no matter what. That is a very small subset of the people that are diagnosed with hypertension. So there is hope. You don't have to be on it for life. Doctors may tell you, I've had doctors tell clients, well, once you're on this blood pressure medication, you're on it for life or else. No, that's not how that works. There's no clinical evidence for that. Once you eliminate the thing that caused it, then you don't need to be on it for a while. You might need to step off slowly because you can have a rebound, but it's not like it's this thing that you become dependent on.
Yeah. I just want everyone listening to know something about our little note spreadsheet that Emily put together here. It's great because like everything is organized by section, and we talk about a cause and then a fix, and there's some explanation. But the one that says cause eating out too often, on fix it just says stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah,
Stay home.
Don't eat out very often. And when you do eat out, you need to probably make very different choices compared to what everyone else would normally make in that. It's just restaurants, because they have to churn out a lot of food, and they have business constraints that are very real. The business model, often you can't be profitable giving people the food that they should be eating. And also it's not going to taste as good, and fats are flavor. And so it's all typically going to be high fat. The best tasting things on the menu tend to be higher fat. Yes, you can make pretty good choices eating out. And I have a bunch of clients that I've walked through that because they have work that's like they got to be out with clients or different things at times. You can navigate this. It's not impossible, but I almost classify that as like an advanced technique that takes time to develop. But if you sit there looking at the menu and whatever their flagship, stuff is that it's everyone's favorite thing to eat at that restaurant, that's probably the last thing you should be eating.
If you struggle with self-control, it's hard to look at those things on the menu and not pick them. But
It's
also,
hard.
you don't really know what goes on behind those kitchen doors and what they're really putting on, because some things might even sound like they're not too bad, but they have extra stuff. Anthony worked at a pizza place during the whole time he was in high school. That was his high school job, and will not eat there to this day because he realized like they have a squeeze bottle of this liquefied butter that they are dumping on every pizza that comes out of there. And it's like, oh wow, well, I mean, that's why it tastes so good, but
Yep.
wow,
Yeah.
like that's unnecessary.
Yeah. If you make a pizza at home, it is not the same as a pizza you get out.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I think that killed it for this one. If you guys have questions, reach out. We'd be happy to help, or we can put a program together for you, or hold your hand along the way, give you some accountability, and all that good stuff, the expertise that you need to reduce brain fog and, bloat or whatever else you might be dealing with. So feel free to reach out, highcallingfitness.com. And until then, gains and grace.
Gains
Gains
and
and
grace.
grace.